Good morning, everyone. It's MSNBC here. I'm Little Drop Top, and today we have the man, the myth, the legend, George W. Bush. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, on this fine Friday morning, I'm doing absolutely stellar. All right.
That's amazing, sir. Can you tell me a bit about your family?
Well, I got a wife and 2 children, and they're all absolutely beautiful.
I'm so glad to hear that. Can you tell me a bit about your life?
Well, even though I'm the president, doesn't mean I don't like to have fun. I like to smoke cigars and play golf on the weekends.
That's amazing. Now that we got the small talk out of the way, can you give us a bit of a background on your life?
Well, even though it may not look like it, I was actually a pretty educated man. I did go to college. I got my bachelor's at Yale and my master's at Harvard.
That's a very impressive resume, sir. Can you give us an idea of what you did after college?
After I graduated, I went into the oil industry and ended up after that in the Air Force Reserve. Now, before I was where I am today, I was the governor of Texas from 1995 to 2000.
Amazing. Now, for the uneducated youths out there, what are the policies that you know, your party line and your ideology?
Well, I'm a Republican and a conservative, and my main goals as a president are to strengthen families and marriages, and to secure the borders, and of course to provide more support for our kids and our elders.
Easy, sir. I understand that getting elected is the hardest part and one of the most important aspects of your presidency. So how was that for you?
Now, with Florida deciding the whole thing, and with the recounts being inaccurate, I decided to file a lawsuit so we get this whole thing underway. But we keep that part of it down.
Really now? So how'd that all end up for you?
After the lawsuit, I ended up winning the election in Florida, and I put Gore down to the ground.
Now, what was the focus of your campaign?
Well, I wanted to appeal to everybody, promote compassionate conservatism so that everyone has a chance in life. I also promoted justice and, of course, the American dream.
Well, that's amazing, sir. But now that we talked about the things leading up to your presidency, let's talk about the things that you've done in the White House. Like, what have you accomplished?
Well, it's more about the ideology that I'm leaving behind, but I do think that I did do some helpful things along the way.
Like what?
Well, I ended up passing the No Child Left Behind Act, which basically required schools that were receiving federal funds to test the students' progress, end up sharing the results so that we could improve the education and help those kids.
Let's talk about 9/11. Okay, it was a terrible day. Everyone can agree upon that. But what was it like dealing with it?
Well, I was actually reading a book to some amazing young children when the attack happened, and it really was a devastating. Dad, why are you calling? Dad, I told you I was having this interview. No, Dad, I know. Dad, I made it back from cricket practice last night. Okay. Don't bring up the Iraq War. You do that every time. I'm sorry, Dad. Don't do this right now, man. Come, we can talk about this later. Okay? No, I'm sorry. Bye.
Well, yeah, actually, I kind of did want to talk about the Iraq War. Like, what was your ideology following the attacks on 9/11? Why did you invade Iraq and declare war?
Well, I just thought that enough was enough.
Can you get a little bit more specific, please?
Well, following the previous attacks on the Pentagon and the first attempted 9/11 attack, I was just sick of all the stuff that had been going down and all the attacks on our beautiful country.
Well, thank you for telling me about that, Mr. President.
Of course.
Now, Mr. President, there's been some conspiracy theories about how you've been involved with 9/11, possibly.
Well, I think that because of the
And we're back now, President. Your presidency's coming to a close pretty soon. How do you think you did?
Well, I think I did mighty fine, and I definitely tried to protect the country as best as I could, but the next president who's coming in after me has definitely got some work to do.
I definitely agree, but now that he's in the bathroom, do you mind answering some questions on that 9/11 topic from earlier?
Nothing but respect for my president.